Sup fam, it's Musashden, and today I'm drawing yet another character sheet for my comic Red. What's Red? Well, I'm so glad you asked! It is a work in progress, but it's mostly a one-shot story about a vampire searching for his missing wife, the Queen of Demons. Spoiler alert, he finds her. They have a bunch of wacky adopted demon kids, plus her demon hunting sisters are in the mix. It's like the show Friends, but with demons. I'm just kidding. It's nothing like Friends because my comic is actually good and it's not a ripoff of Living Single. Seriously, look it up. Living Single came out first. But that's a rant for another day. No, today is actually a bit of a continuation of what I was complaining about in my last video. I went on for like 10 minutes about how the new warriors are a bunch of garbage, well, the new warriors are a bunch of garbage designs with a bunch of garbage character traits, if they can be called that. It seems like they only exist so the writer can jerk off to how woke he seems himself. It seemed like he didn't actually care about representing these poor marginalized groups. He just wants brownie points for checking a diversity box. But enough about that comic that more than likely won't be made because the comic industry is broke now. Anyway, the characters that annoyed me the most were Snowflake and Safe Space. Their terrible names aside, their designs were just awful, and I don't care that the guy who designed them is some kind of LGBTQ messiah. If he was, he should have known that shit wasn't gonna fly. What kind of jock wants to wear a pink wrestling singlet that matches his twin non-binary sister? What non-binary person wants to wear cyan blue? Just like all cyan blue, black and white. Like, what the hell was that? The number one rule of comics is show, don't tell. If your character is non-binary, they should look non-binary. So instead of redesigning the characters, that's not my job. They should have done a better job of designing them in the first place. I'm not going to waste my time doing that. So yeah, instead of redesigning the characters, I decided it was high time I made the character for Red that I never mentioned to anyone before this. But believe me, they've been in the works for a while. Ever since I decided that Genesis and Neo weren't going to be together anymore. I said it back in one other video. I think I said it back in Neo's character video that him and Genesis aren't a couple anymore. Neo needs to be free to be an incubus, and Genesis deserves someone better. Like, honestly, she does. And at first I was going to give her a girlfriend, but I realized I'd done that already with Del and Zen in my other comic, Illegal Tender. And that's not to say there can't be more than one lesbian couple. I just wanted to try my hand at something different. And I realized I've never made a non-binary character. I have tons, and I mean tons of gay boys, a few gay girls. One of my Walking Dead OCs is transgender. I have cis male characters that defy the macho gender role, and cis female gunslingers, and they defy their gender roles. The main couple of Red is Samael and Cameron, and their marriage is quite unique as Samael is actually asexual. But now I'm starting to muddle gender with sexual orientation, which I often do because it's a lot of info to keep in your head. Like, there are just so many orientations and designations that honestly, as a cis straight woman, I often get wrong. So if any non-binary people watching this, let me know if I get it right. Okay, on to the character. Like I said before, they're going to be a love interest for my Night Witch, Genesis. But that's not their only purpose. When Cameron and her sisters stop hunting demons, it creates a huge influx of demon attacks, and several people from their demon hunting high school have to fill the void, but most of them get killed almost immediately, save for one. This person here. And I know the file name says their name is Nova, but that was just a placeholder name. I ended up naming them Sage. Sage Aditya, a senior from the demon school that holds their own against demons long enough to meet Genesis one night. And Genesis immediately falls in love with them, which surprises Neo because up until that point, he never sensed any sexual energy from Genesis. She had just been mostly angry about how her life took a 180 when she finds out her sister is the damn queen of demons. Anyway, Jen meets Sage, and it turns out They're a Sun Mage, literally the opposite of a Night Witch. Sage's powers only work when the sun's out, but Sage has found a way to enchant items to hold their power so they can fight demons at night. They are another legacy character like Alejandro. Sage comes from a long line of Sun Mages, so their lineage has given them a leg up in the demon fight, which is why they survived long enough to, survive. Unfortunately, Sage idolizes one of the main villains in the story, the witch, Morgan, that kept Cameron, Genesis, and Sue captive for years and manipulated Cameron into killing her own kind. Yet, Sage thinks Morgan's prowess is great, and Genesis grapples with revealing that she's actually just a magical construct given sentience by Morgan, and it's a whole thing. And the plot is really great, and I was supposed to be done with this by now, but shit happens. So, a little bit about my process on making Sage. Like I said, I've never made a non-binary character before, and New Warrior's Snowflake was a great example of what not to do. It literally took a 5-minute Google search to get basic info on non-binary people, and I fell down a rabbit hole of information because they can also be called agender and genderqueer. I feel like non-binary is just the umbrella term. Again, if I'm getting it wrong, let me know. The only thing I seem to get right is the use of they, them when describing Sage. Hopefully I've gotten that right so far. Their clothing choices land somewhere in the middle of male and female clothes. Same with the colors. The non-binary flag is black, white, purple, and yellow. All colors which I tried to include in Sage's design. Although I think I saw a version of the non-binary flag with green instead of yellow. I might be thinking of the genderqueer flag, which is green, white, and purple. And that's where I start getting confused because non-binary and genderqueer almost sound like the same thing. Agender seems like all these terms denote lack of defined gender, or you define as both. I get confused. A person. Non-binaries are just humanoid people. In fact, I posted a poll on my Twitter and asked if you could tell what gender Sage is, and 50% of the vote answered, "It's not my fucking biz, man," which made me very happy because gender isn't anyone's business, especially if you make it clear that you just want to be. Like, you just want to exist without a damn gender role being forced upon you. Women wear pants now, and men used to wear wigs and heels. Like, gender hardly matters. In the end, it's such a trivial thing. Like, I don't know why I don't have more gender neutral characters, but that's me thinking this stuff has been hammered into my head all my life, so it's kind of hard to let it go. I don't think I'm ever going to reveal what gender Sage was born as. Are they a guy with hips? Are they a girl with a flat chest? Well, that's none of your business, my dudes. Another thing that irked me about Snowflake and Safe Space in the New Warriors, and to a lesser extent, what's the fat girl's name? Trailblazer. They're supposed to be of color, but this color of their skin is so dull. Like, it's very obvious. I think the person who picked their colors was just like, oh yeah, this looks like a black person's skin color. And I'm just like, but there's so much gray in there. They look ashy. And that's another problem with a lot of white people or non-dark skinned people, myself included, because I'm high yellow black. But non-dark skinned people, when they try to make characters that do have dark skin, they tend to just take the pale swatch from the white characters and just move it down the line and end up with so much gray in it. And they just look ashy. So I was like, if you're gonna make a black character, let's make them chocolate now. Like, let's make some real chocolate here. So when I designed Sage, I was like, you know what? I want them to be really chocolatey. I mean, I know I already have Sue. Her skin tone is a little bit reddish. And I have Alejandro, who's like a mid, kind of orangey little bit. I think they're nearly the same color almost. And I was like, nah, I want Sage to be chocolate colored. So yeah, and then when I picked that, I was like, oh, you know what? Purple hair looks real good on darker skin. And Sage ended up looking like Darkly and Sonya's, and I totally didn't realize that until I was done with them. But I'm just like, and then I gave them the little beauty mark that Darkly has. Darkly's is actually up by his eye, but Sage's has theirs down by their mouth, and I'm just like, oh god, what have I created? And then I gave him the little piercings in the ear, and I'm just like, oh, it was like Sonya and Darkly's love child. Sonya and Darkly are characters from A Legal Tender, and spoiler alert, they do have kids eventually, but I'm trying to make it so the universes don't cross each other, but clearly Sage is Sonya and Darkly's love child from another dimension. And this is the end result of Sage. What makes Sage special from all the other Red characters is that they are a completely new concept. They are not a revamped character from the very, 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 very old first draft of Red. Sage is brand new. And look at that cute little smile. Oh my god, what an angel. Sage will be showing up in my gallery alongside Genesis very soon, because I can't stop the romance. If you're wondering who Sonya and Darkly are, you can purchase A Legal Tender Happy Hour. It contains the first 6 issues of my comic about superpowered bartenders, now available in my Square store. Link is in the description. That's it for this week's video. If you liked it, go ahead and like it. And if you enjoy my content, go ahead and subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt, Wattpad, and Tumblr, because I am Musashden here, there, and everywhere. Thanks for watching.